Yo, what's going on, guys? In today's video, we are gonna actually be talking about the loot drops in the brand new Guardian Takedown and why I think they absolutely need buffed. Also, I will be giving evidence, to support my own claim, and one major change that I think needs to happen, which is currently not in the Guardian Takedown at all. So let's get straight into it. Real quick though, if you guys like this video and other content I make, then don't forget to drop a like on this video because it really helps me and my analytics out. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more Borderlands 3 videos like this. Now, the first thing I want to talk about, basically, like I said, the loot drops in the Guardian Takedown absolutely need buffed, and I'm going to basically give you guys some proof. Now, the main piece of evidence that I'm going to be giving you guys is that this takedown is super long. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I enjoy playing it. Maybe not everyone enjoys how long it is, but that is not the issue here. What I'm saying is the length that this takedown is justifies better loot drops, because at the end of the day, this is a farming game. When I spend my time doing certain activities, I need to feel a payoff for doing those activities. So let's talk about how long this actually is. Now, the thing is, Gearbox already basically confirmed that they are going to be basically nerfing this takedown. They're going to be lowering the enemy health, so this takedown's going to be easier to complete. With that being said, though, there is still a certain amount of required time you must spend in this takedown because of the mechanics of it. So let's just break it down right now. So basically, I have already figured out this takedown pretty much. There's still more to be figured out and more to learn. I'm not trying to gloat, but the point is I listed each section of the takedown and how long it takes to complete it. So we are going to start with the first creature area, the Necrotafeo mobs that are required to farm. Now, currently in the speedrun I have posted, this was like one of my best runs. It was a 40-minute run total. I did the first area in about 2.5 minutes, I believe, or possibly 3 minutes. When Gearbox nerfs the health, I believe with an optimized build, and if you are a confident player, you can probably do it in 1.5 minutes. So moving on, we have the first crystals. Now, if you get the best RNG ever and you get no guardians on your crystal pads, each crystal takes 30 seconds to fully charge. So with that being said, you could do that area in 1.5 minutes if you're lucky. Next, we are moving on to the bridge and the platforming after the bridge when you jump into that square before you get into the first boss fight. That probably reasonably takes about 1.5 minutes. This is a bit of an estimate based on our current times. And once again, what I think about when they nerf this takedown and make it a bit easier, I think you could do it in about 1.5 minutes. Next, we have the boss you see me fighting in the footage in the background, Anathema. This Anathema kill is pretty optimized in my opinion. I could have done it a little bit quicker, but it took me 4 minutes in this footage. Because of the immunity phases, you have to get through each immunity phase. No matter how easy or how weak the boss is, there are literal immunity phases that you cannot avoid, and it is a time investment. After that, we have the second creature area. Now, this is the second Necrotafeo mobs that you have to farm, or not farm, that you have to kill to keep moving through the takedown. This should take reasonably 1.5 minutes after they nerf it. Don't forget that. I'm saying after they nerf it. Next, we have the second set of crystals. Once again, the crystals only actually take 30 seconds each to fully charge. So if you get good RNG, if you have an optimized build, if you're a confident player, after they nerf it, you could probably do this section in 1.5 minutes. And that's, I'm being really generous with these times. Finally, after that, we move on to the final mobbing section and the final platforming sections. This should easily take you another 1.5 minutes. Once again, I know 1.5 minutes keeps popping up, but just based on times of me running this takedown multiple times, soloing it, and kind of what I think after they nerf the enemy scaling, this is a pretty common trend. Finally, we get to the raid boss, Scourge the Invincible. This is a long fight. This boss teleports you twice. Okay, all right, let's talk about what this boss fight really entails. There is, what, 8 immunity phases that I can remember off the top of my head, maybe 12. On top of that, they teleport you twice to 2 different mobbing sections that take a couple minutes each to complete. This is a long raid boss fight. Realistically, this probably takes you about 15 minutes with an optimized kill. Theoretically, I think you could even cut this time down some more, but I've been pretty generous for the rest of the times on this list, I believe. And this is how long I think it could take for like a normal player who's confident and they have a really good build. This leaves us with a total of a 28-minute long raid. Now, this is extremely long. Let's compare it to the Maliwan Takedown. An average time of the Maliwan Takedown with a good player who is trying hard, you know what I mean? Not trying super hard, but like an average run for a good player with a good build. The Maliwan Takedown takes about 10 minutes. Personally, I can run it in about 7, but that's with skips. And I know the Maliwan Takedown very well. I've ran it 1,000 times because I play this game every single day. And the Maliwan Takedown was the only raid for the last 7 months now. So the Maliwan Takedown can take under 10 minutes. When this raid, if you go through the phases, the mobbing, like, I was very generous with these times. We already know it's going to get nerfed next week, so it's going to be easier next week. You know what I mean? So I was being very generous. This is an optimized run. I haven't even done the takedown in 30 minutes yet. It took me 40 minutes. I have a video posted on my channel if you guys want to see it. But I believe that time could be improved, and with it being nerfed next week, I think this is reasonable once everybody gets used to it, once everybody has optimized builds. You know what I mean? I just want to be kind of generous just to show how, like, actually long this raid is. This raid takes 3 times as long as the Maliwan Takedown, and I fully think that justifies buffed loot drops. Currently, the raid has similar loot drops to anywhere else in the game. The Anathema and Scourge the Invincible probably have maybe the same loot drops, or the loot drop chance as Wotan the Invincible. Now, the other thing about Wotan is Wotan, you can actually get drops from Wotan himself. You can get drops from Wotan's upper half. You can get drops from Wotan's brain. And you can get drops from Wotan's legs. Now, just saying this raid has only been out a couple days. Maybe there is some secret loot, like with Wotan's legs, that we don't know about yet. But as of right now, only Anathema and only Scourge the Invincible can get the drops. So Wotan has 4 chances at dropping his loot for a much faster clear, and Anathema and Scourge, that's only 2 chances for dedicated drop rates of this raid. So we are spending 3 times as long with a very, very optimized run for half the drop chance of the Maliwan Takedown. And I just think if we are spending this much time in a game that at the end of the day is a looter shooter, this is a farming game, I just think it totally justifies at least 1 guaranteed dedicated drop from each boss, if not more. But once again, I kind of want to be generous, and I just want to point out how long this raid is. Now, there is also one major change I think needs to happen. Currently in the raid, there is 3 new weapons, 2 new shields, and 1 new grenade. So that is 6 dedicated drops that you have a chance at getting in this raid. On top of that, they have the Mayhem 4 exclusives. Now, I have an issue with the fact that the Mayhem 4 exclusives drop from this raid. Personally, I think the Mayhem 6 exclusives need to drop from this raid. This raid is very difficult. It requires top tier builds and top tier gear. Let's take a look at these Mayhem 6 exclusives. Now, if we look at these weapons, a lot of these weapons are the top tier weapons in the game that people are completing the raid with. Specifically, the Backburner, the Plague Bearer, the Reflux, the Monarch, the Sandhawk, and the Chaos In. All of these weapons are the top tier weapons in the game that people are using to complete this top tier content, and you should be rewarded with loot that is worth spending a half hour and realistically an hour of your life completing. Unless I'm trying very, very hard, I can't even do this in under 35 minutes or 40 minutes. I posted a just under 40 minute raid on my channel, and it's day 3. On top of that, we know it's getting nerfed next week. I expect to improve on this time, but realistically, for an average player who is confident, who knows the mechanics, with a good build, they could expect to spend around 45 minutes in this raid, and the loot does not currently compensate you. And yeah, especially with kind of, you know, the web slinger not being the best gun. The smog is very, very cool, but realistically, I don't even think it stands up to the M6 exclusives. And same goes for the Globetrotter. The Globetrotter's decently powerful. I've seen some good things about it. I haven't really played with it myself yet, but I don't think it stands up to the Backburner. I don't think it stands up to the Plague Bearer. I don't even think it stands up to the Monarch or the Sandhawk. And the hardest content in the game should be rewarded with guns that can help you complete that content even easier, right? And yeah, on top of that, I think we deserve at least one dedicated drop. But yeah, so that is pretty much everything I have to say about it. And I kind of proved that even if they nerf this raid, even if they nerf the enemy health, there are still mechanics that you cannot ignore, like charging crystals. There are immunity phases on bosses you cannot ignore. There are mobbing areas that you cannot skip. This is a long raid at the end of the day. I'm okay with it. It's very fun, in my opinion. I enjoy doing it. But personally, I do not feel compensated for this challenge. And at the end of the day, it is the biggest challenge in the game, and I think that deserves a little bit of compensation. Anyways, guys, that is pretty much it for this video. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And, of course, always like this video if you like it, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more Borderlands 3 videos. I'm pretty much just going to cut it off right there. And yeah, guys, so yeah. Anyways, guys, I will see you in the next one. I'm out.